Alright, this will be the third video in my low-tech, low-production quality series of beginner one-wheel videos. So, you got your one-wheel, you saw my previous video about pushback. Hopefully you're not going to be even reaching pushback here for a little while. You're going to be careful, you're going to be safe. I know a lot of your gonzo maybe used to be skaters, snowboarders, wakeboarders, and you're going to jump on this thing and want to go nuts. I did. I regretted it. So I'm trying to help save some of you guys from some of that pain, embarrassment, and possible board damage. So the first thing you want to do is be on grass, number one. A lot of people say you want to learn on pavement first because it's smoother. I used to say that because when I first got my board, I wanted to jump on it and take off like a bat out of hell. I tried to do that on grass, it didn't work. Then I got on pavement and it was better. But I had been skateboarding for 30 years. And then it wasn't long after that, if you saw my last video, I described that I fell hard at 23 miles an hour. I did not know what pushback was. You do. So you're not going to make that mistake. We're not going to worry about that. So the factory says have somebody else stand next to you and put your hands on your shoulders. I think that's great advice. It's a great way to do it. I don't have anybody, so I can't demonstrate that exactly for you. If you don't have somebody, I would find some grass next to a building or something and maybe try to put your hands on it. And if you really can't find that, then maybe try it in the grass, but be prepared to fall. Put a helmet on. Who knows what you're going to hit? Wrist guards. Helmet and wrist guards would be number one for safety gear. Other things are optional, will be helpful. Knee pads, elbow pads, things like that. But number one, helmet. Number two, wrist guards. I've done this thousands of times. I don't need it for right now, but at least put the helmet on to show you that I kind of mean it. Now, the first thing that I tell people, now, if you read your manual, they said, you've got two sensors here, lift one. Let's just simplify. Jump up with 2 feet. That's that way, because if you've got too much left brain going on, so you're thinking, you're not able to just act. We want action, not thought at this point. When you're thinking, your physical abilities are going to fall back a little bit. So let's make the absolute simplest physical acts required to get on a one wheel and ride. So if you can put your hands on something, that's great. So the two things I tell somebody, because people always, whenever they see me, they're like, "What is that thing? That's amazing." And then number two is usually, "Can I try it?" Usually I'm sketch on that because I live in America. I don't want to get sued, but I usually let people, especially if I'm on grass, whatever. Two things. Number one, jump off with both feet. That's dismount. That's how to get off of the board. Number two is be prepared because once you get on the board and get it level and the board kicks in and starts self-balancing, it's going to jerk a little bit. Now, naturally in life, if you step with one of your feet and it slides out from underneath of you or it moves quickly, your absolute reflex, trained from you for your whole life, is going to be to catch. You are going to try to catch yourself. This is a self-balancing board. Let the board catch you. Trust the board. So I always tell everybody when you first get on the board, be prepared because it's going to feel weird because as soon as you get it to level, the board's going to say, I sense that you're level and say, okay, time to balance you. So if I'm not ready for that, it's going to feel weird. And people do this number. And a lot of times they will leave a foot on and the board takes off or they fall. And then you need those wrist guards because you're going to fall. So that's the first two things. I try not to give people too many things to have to think about while writing. Like I said, you don't want to be too much in your left brain on this. So I tell them, be ready for the jerky motion of the board starting to sense you, and be prepared that when you're done to jump off with both feet. Now that covers the whole idea of the sensors and not leaving your front foot on and all that. So we'll start with that. Get somebody, if you can, to hold onto your shoulders. Imagine my imaginary assistant in front of me. Put the back foot on first, front foot on next, and then be prepared for the board to kind of jerk around a little bit when it's trying to balance you. It really only jerks because you're not ready. If I step steady on this board, click, it doesn't jerk around. Your first time on this, you're probably going to be more like, it's going to do something funky. I can't even do it when I try anymore because my reflex is to be ready for I've been doing this for so long now, it's just too easy. So do that and do it on grass because even though grass is lumpy and it's a little bit more inconsistent, you're more likely to fall. The physical penalty for falling is so much lower. I can fall off here onto my hands, onto my elbows, onto my head, and it's probably not going to really cause an injury. And a lot of people, our demographic for one wheels are not people that are 18 years old. These are people generally that are probably in their mid to late 30s. Those are people that can afford a one wheel and might be interested in this sort of thing. That's kind of our demographic. I'm 44, and so we don't bounce back like the little kids do. So be prepared, especially if you've been spending a lot of time at a desk or on a couch and you're not an athlete and you're in your 30s or your 40s, that your muscles are not going to be ready for this. So you're going to have to train it. It's a great exercise. It's helped me cure a long-standing back problem that I had for about a decade. And I've lost about a one wheel's worth of weight. I've lost about 30 pounds. I'm in great shape now because I've really got into one wheeling. It's going to be great for you. I hope it will for you, like it was for me and for a lot of people. So we got a little bit off topic here. It's going to turn into a little bit of a wheelosophy pontification video, but these were intended to be longer, a little bit more long-winded, and get some left brain in here. They're going to be like an extension of the one wheel videos that they've been putting out. They're only 60 seconds long to teach you how to ride a one wheel. I think it needs more than that. Plus, if you're waiting 2 months for your XR, you're probably thirsty for information and you want to suck up everything you can. I got lots of trick videos if you want to see action shots, but this is going to be more learning. And so you get on it and you ride safe. I do not want to see your pictures on Facebook of you having wrecked, because if you've seen these videos and you still wreck, it's all on you. I don't want to hear about it. So you got on. You dealt with this, you're still standing somehow, then obviously you've probably figured out by now you lean forward to go forward, backwards to go backwards. Have fun. It's a great feeling just cruising around on this thing, this floaty feeling of a nice 10-inch pneumatic tire. There's nothing like it. Your skateboards can't compare to the feeling of just balancing on a one wheel, cruising around, and it's so easy to slow down. If you're going too fast, just lean. You lean the other direction. It brakes hard. Has regenerative braking even. How nice is that? So now we've got that down. We know that if we need to get off, we just jump off with both feet. And it's going to happen, especially in the grass. It's going to feel weird when you catch the edge of a tire and but just get off with both feet. On the back, it doesn't matter as much because the sensor is not there. But if you put your foot on the front foot, or your front foot on the front sensor, and you try to keep going, or you take off and leave a foot on the front foot, that's where you can hurt yourself. The board can take off on you. You kind of do the splits. The board stays engaged. So it's important to get both feet off. If you get that down, you get comfortable, you can get on, you can mount, jump both feet off the dismount, let it click. Then you get proficient riding around, your balance is good. Then you can start doing more advanced dismounts. So let's go. Yeah, I was going to think about cutting this to another video, but let's go ahead and do some dismounts. My first dismount video is available on YouTube. I go through what at the time were all the available dismounts. There's a new one, I'm going to share that today, that I've discovered that I think is slightly better. It might be my favorite now, but let's go ahead and redo those. My first video, the audio was bad because I didn't have these hooked up through the Bluetooth. Now you got good sound quality. And in case anybody wants to make their own videos, I'm using an app called Movie Pro on iPhone. It allows you to use AirPods as your mic input. Off topic. So the factory suggested dismounts. Number one, they do suggest jumping off with both feet. The next one would be heel lift. So I'm going to do it from a couple different angles so you see what's happening. The most important thing with all of these dismounts is that your board be level. In the manual, it looks kind of like the board is tilted, but what they're actually showing you is the board coming to the ground after you lift it. You actually need to be level, because if you're not level, the board still thinks you're moving. If you tilt the board backward while lifting off of one of the sensors, it's still going to think you're moving. See? I lifted that heel way off the sensor. It's still going. I'm ready for it, but when you're not ready for it, then you're gonna lose. Your feet are gonna fly out from underneath you. It happens all the time. It happened to me when I first got the board because I looked at the manual. The manual did not describe it very well. Now I'm gonna show it from two angles. It's important. I'm getting into really detail on this. If you guys are watching this and you've been riding one wheels before, you're probably wasting your time. You know this stuff. This is for people that just got their one wheel or are waiting to get their one wheel. So If you're level, how can you lift your heel without tilting it? The only way to do it properly is going to feel a little awkward until you're used to it. Practice this on flat ground. You're going to move your knee forward, not up. So you do that. Imagine your knees are slightly bent. I'm going to push my knee straight forward. Click. Notice how I stayed level even after my heel was off the board. That's the proper way to do it. Forward, not up. I know what's coming, so up worked for me, but it doesn't always. You want it to go forward. Now I'm going to show it from the other angle so you can see what my knee does. So we're not going up. Whoa, see? That's what I'm talking about. We're going forward, straight forward. Click, and then set the tail down. That's the factory heel lift technique, because there are two sensors on the front, and it's detecting that one is off while level, while at less than 1 mile per hour, the board will shut off. Those are the parameters in the software for it to disconnect the balancing mechanism. So we're less than 1 mile per hour, we're level, one sensor lifts, the board shuts off. The second technique that's recommended by the factory would be a toe lift. Basically, it's kind of using the other sensor. And so instead of lifting the heel, we're going to lift the toe, rotate it out until it's off the sensor, and then the board will shut off. Again, you need to be stopped, you need to be level, you need to be less than 1 mile per hour. If you need to get off the board and you're more than 1 mile per hour, I hope it's obvious to you. What do you do? If it's more than 1 mile per hour, what do you do? Both feet, remember? Or both feet? Both feet. But you want to stop in style. You stop at a stoplight. The college girls are looking at you, wondering what that thing is. You want to look stylish. So you're going to stop, do the heel lift that we just learned, or do the toe lift. And it used to really feel uncomfortable to me. And then the more I did it, the more I kind of learned to like it. And I do use it sometimes. One thing that feels a little strange is that you tend to go forward rather than backward, unless you're ready. So I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to tilt off. It's like that. So I don't know how well you can see it, but I'm taking my toe. I'm not really lifting so much. So I'm just kind of rotating. I'm just kind of sliding my front foot off to the side until the heel's attached and the board shuts off. So let's try it from the other angle. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. Turn it to the side, click, shuts off. I don't know if you can hear the click, but I turn my toes 90 degrees counterclockwise because I'm regular footed. Click, turns off. So now we've done jump off is 1, heel lift is 2. We've got a lot of dismounts in our toolbox. We got 3. And then in my previous dismount videos, I showed another one that I like, which is while you're moving, and you can be going more than 1 mile per hour. You don't want to be going too fast to do this one, but I use this one all the time, especially if I'm just cruising around doing tricks or whatever. And this is taking the front foot off completely. Instead of lifting one side and getting the sensors off, I'll be cruising along. I'll just take 1 foot off and just kind of set the tail down. This has a couple advantages. One is I don't have to stop and balance, and if I'm on a shaky ground, I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't have to worry about being below 1 mile per hour. I don't have to worry about lifting carefully one side or the other and keeping myself level and putting my foot forward, not up. I just kind of dock the front foot off, plant it on the ground, and plant the tail. Then it stays right where it's supposed to be. You can be going pretty fast for this. The board will shut down. Click. Boom. I think Jeff McCosker came up with this variation, which works just as well. Front foot off to the front. And now, the one that's never been seen on video before, the one I invented, is really not that big of a deal, but I make it sound like it is. It's just a variation of the heel lift. I started just kind of accidentally doing it naturally one day, and I find there's some advantages to it over the other methods. So imagine the heel lift, but I'm kind of just, instead of having to worry about stopping, bending my knees, lifting, and feeling the click, instead, I kind of do almost like the heel or the toe lift, but I do it the opposite direction. I just kind of turn it. kind of stylish. You're cruising along and stop and turn it like so. It's just, to me, that feels like a kind of a natural rotation to my foot. I'm stopped and I want to get off, especially if I'm kind of thinking about going that direction. I'll just turn, click. So that may seem more natural to you. I'll give you one more bonus one that's just kind of silly. The redneck burnout. But that's dismounts, and that's really all you need to know to get started. And if you've seen some of my other videos on the Concrete Plus, I can teach you. The next thing you're going to want to learn is practicing skills that if your threshold of perception gets lower, you'll start to notice even in this video when I'm just rolling around, goofing around. I use some of the skills like in my Concrete Plus videos where I lean onto the front edge of the tire or the rear edge of the tire in order to make tight turns. There's really a lot of things that can be done with the one wheel. It's really fun. That's why I really got into tricks and stuff with the one wheel. Get your basics down and then look at some of these trick videos and then have some fun with it. In the grass is the best place to learn. If you get good in the grass, you're comfortable in the grass, you're balanced well in the grass, then getting on the concrete is going to be like nothing. It's going to be like butter. It's going to be so easy. But especially on the concrete, helmet, wrist pads, and have some fun. I hope you are enjoying your new one wheel. If you do and you like it, let me know. If there's anything that you want, if you got any requests, anything you'd like to learn, anything you'd like explained in better detail, I'm very good at breaking down physical action tasks into mental tasks, into things that you can pancake a set of skills until you build that awareness so that it becomes reflex and you don't have to think about it. If you're mentally focused, if you're a very cerebral kind of person, then the way that I break it down, I think is helpful. I get comments sometimes. People hate these videos. They're like, all you do is talk. I'm like, yeah, look at my other videos. All I do is ride. But sometimes you want to think about it. You want to sit in front of your desk at the office and learn a little something and then go out in the field and try this stuff. So if it's helpful, let me know. If you hate it, I don't care. Let me know or not, because a lot of people do like it. A lot of people find it helpful. If you have any requests, just drop it in the comments. I'm happy to throw together another one of these low quality videos for you.